Good morning, and welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam in my rather loud car because it is a little cold today. I know I said I wouldn't do this anymore, but we had a little bit of a clusterfuck of a weekend, so I didn't get to watch Searching until last night. Also not made easier by the fact that Searching is not available on any streaming service, so I had to buy it. I should have looked into this before I decided to do this. And I think on a similar note, we're probably going to end up doing something similar next week and relocate Blades of Glory out because I don't want to pay for another movie if I don't have to. It's not on Netflix, it's not on Hulu, maybe not. I looked on Hulu. I looked on Peacock, it's not on Peacock, it's not on HBO Max, it's not on Netflix, definitely not on Disney Plus. Maybe it's on Paramount Plus. Maybe it's on, what was the other one? Fucking, there's so many streaming services, I can't keep track of them all. But either way, we'll look into it and we'll see. As always, you can check the blog for information as it happens. Go to what's wrong over here? multipleworldproductions.com/news, and you can see it all there. It's kind of like we have, what's it called here? Oh, this is a new traffic pattern here. That's great. That's just what they need, is a new traffic pattern here. This is not going to cause an accident at all. 100% is going to cause an accident. It's a three-way stop now. Because someone's going to blow through this if they don't know no stop signs. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So here we are. We are talking about Searching, talking about Searching because there is a sequel, I think, coming out this week with Storm Reed and Nia Long and Ken Leung. And it looked pretty interesting when I saw the trailer at the movies before any number of movies that came out this year, or late last year, where they just throw this trailer before it. I'm not, and the thing is too, it's like my concern going into this movie, Searching, was that the conceit of the movie, basically the fact that it's being told entirely through a screen grab of a computer screen, would get annoying after a while. Where it's like, all right, this is just that would get annoying quickly. Like I like looking at it through a computer screen, and I thought it would have the Chronicle problem, which is where Chronicle's a found footage superhero movie. We have a bunch of stitched together footage and all of that from various first party sources who are privy to it. And you get to the third act, and it kind of just abandons that altogether. And that's what I was afraid of with this movie, is that it's like they would stick to this kind of, like, it's almost like a found footage movie, kind of like half found footage conceit. And it adds a level of intimacy to the movie. Because you're not omniscient. You're watching it happen. You're watching in a way that you wouldn't normally see. You're watching through the computer and seeing what's happening there. And I think it's an interesting kind of way to tell the story. And I think too, the other thing is it makes use of environmental storytelling in a way that you really only get with video games, and I think that it does it very well. Where like things happen on the screen and you see little bits and pieces, and I think it's got one of the best twist executions in recent history. Because a lot of times we see a twist, we think of like when we say twist, we think of Sixth Sense, where there are things all throughout Sixth Sense that indicate that, spoilers, Bruce Willis is dead. Or we think about, was it Cape Fear with DiCaprio? The Cape Fear remake? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Shutter Island? Is it Shutter Island? Maybe it's Shutter Island? I don't remember. It's one of those movies. Where he's there and he thinks that he's a detective, but he's not. And there are little things all throughout the movie that indicate that he's, severely deluded. And I think that, like, when we know about other twists, like, I would argue that, like, when we say, you know, the reveal of Vader being Luke's father isn't exactly a twist, it's more of a reveal, because nothing up until this point indicates that could be the case, and then on top of that, we actually have evidence to the contrary, because we were told other things, and then it needs to be explained later why he lied and told him basically the exact opposite. And it's an interest, and the whole thing is, I told you the truth from a certain point of view. Fuck off. We're not going to do this right now. I think that the bigger issue with this movie, not issue, but like the thing that works about this movie is that everything that kind of happens in it builds toward the end. So when we get the big reveal at the end about what Deborah Messing's involvement is, if she has any, I spoiled it already. So if you haven't watched the movie, I put these up in advance. That way, if you want to, watch the movie along with, so it's kind of like a book club. You can, do that. By the time you get to the end and you get to Deborah Messing's involvement, then you can you can kind of see what's happening. You can kind of understand where this is coming from. Where, like, not understand why she did what she did and how it happened, but like you can kind of be like, oh shit, that's what that is. But I do have one complaint about the movie, and it is that the dad is so technologically illiterate that it's annoying, because he's illiterate to the point where it's like you gotta wait for him to catch up to what you already know about how things work. Like, and not even about just technology, but also there's like one of the big things in the movie that makes it, that makes the third act unfold is the discovery that the girl who was talking to his daughter on the streaming site was not real, was a stock photo. And it's like, once that reveal happens, you go from there to, like, he calls the model, and he's like, wait, you were talking to my daughter, didn't the detective talk to you? And it's like, look, when you look up that picture and you get a million other things of her doing a million other things, it's not like she's some international agent or something. She's a stock photo model. Like, why are you, like, that step could have been omitted completely and been like, oh shit, someone is lying because this is a stock photo model that was being used for this. And it's like, okay, well, it's such a dumb thing where it's like, it's an extra step that I'm like, now we gotta sit here and wait for him to figure this out too. But whatever, they move past that, and I think that the end of the episode, the end of the movie being the reveal that the daughter is alive, as being pushed down the ravine, I think is an interesting, is an interesting wrinkle to add. And I do like everything that goes along, and I think it's like, they try to portray Irene as being in the wrong. Is her name Irene? For some reason I keep thinking her name's Irene Adler. I don't think that's the case, because that's a Sherlock character. But we'll call her Grace. Okay, we'll call her Grace. The reason why Grace is wants him to go, they've tried to portray it where it's like, oh no, we can't have you on the case because you assaulted the kid. And he's like, no, you have to let me stay on. I'm helping you more than you're helping out too. And which we later find out why. But at the same time, she is a detective. And like, look, I understand that at the time you didn't know she was involved in the cover-up of your daughter going missing. Like, you don't, after all of that, like, watching this whole thing kind of go, I was watching this, and it's like, I don't know, I told off my thing. I thought I was looking up ahead to this, an accident up ahead. What was it, for her to try to take him off the case and be like, no, don't help anymore because you're not helping, you're just making it worse. It's like, look, she's right. Because you can't have the dad going out and assaulting a 17-year-old boy, even if he did write some really distasteful things on social media about your missing daughter. You can't have him be that affiliated with the case and then be like, and he's going to go out and beat the shit out of these people and break their jaws. It's like, not entirely, she's not entirely wrong there. But they try to portray her as wrong, but it's like, not really. And I'm watching the movie and I'm like, man, she's acting, and the thing is too, it's like, I think that's one of the strengths of the movie, is that I'm watching the movie and it's like, she's acting in ways that a detective doesn't normally act. Why did they make her a detective and not a private investigator? Like, she's involving him way too much in this, and it's like, that's not how actual detective work works. And then, sure enough, there's a reason for it, and I think that's one of the strengths of the movie, is that, to the point where it's like, if you can pick up on something and be like, oh, that's a weird choice, and then for it to have a reason, it means you did something right in crafting your narrative. Yeah, I mean, the movie's not bad. It actually has me more excited to see Missing come Thursday, because I want to see how that plays out, and see if doing a second movie in this same format will, if the video, if the way it's shot is still what's the one I'm looking for? It's still different enough and interesting enough for it to stand, separate, and not feel like, okay, well, we've seen this, so who cares? But if it manages to hold up on its own, then I think we got something that could be really cool. So looking forward to that. So before we, wrap up fully for the day, let's talk about the Mandalorian trailer from last night that debuted during the Super Wild Card Weekend. The Super Wild Card Weekend game between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, and I think that it's a lot of Star Wars, which I think is kind of what the Disney Plus trailers have been. It's like, oh, look, there's a lot of Star Wars here, that's cool. And I think as long as it executes on that, it could be pretty cool. Like, I think we see the doctor who was on Navarro, he's chilling on Coruscant. That's pretty cool. The Coruscant from this looks more like the Coruscant we're familiar with. And I'm interested to see what Coruscant is like immediately before it falls back to the Republic. Because that's the thing, is we're getting up to the point now where we have to be getting close to the Battle of Jakku. Because that's something we're going to bump into eventually. And we have, apparently, this is going to be the liberation of Mandalore this season, which will be cool, but we are eventually going to bump into the Battle of Jakku and the events that happen in, like, Bloodlines and stuff like that, where, what's the one for here? They do have to deal with the liberation of Coruscant, and I think if that is where this goes, maybe that's where they were intending to go, with Rangers of the New Republic. But if where this show is going to end up is going to be, I would be interested to see that battle from that perspective. Because I think even in the books we don't see the battle here. They did have it in the old canon, because I think that was what, if I remember correctly, a good amount of the X-Wing series is about the liberation of Coruscant and the final fall of the Empire. I mean, a lot of the Expanded Universe books are about the fall of the Empire and the aftermath, because you have that, you have Heir of the Empire, which is about the end of kind of the last major military stronghold or holdout in that Grand Admiral Thrawn is their last great strategic mind. So there's a lot of room for there's a lot of room for stuff to happen. I'm interested to see where this goes, but in so much as let's just wait for the first episode to come out in 2 months, and we'll move from there. For those of you who did not also see the news, tickets for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania went on sale last night, which, if you recall, I said was going to happen a few months ago. So listen to me more often, because I have a tendency to be right about things. So what else have we got? I think that just about covers it. I think we've got enough good stuff here today. I'm looking forward to The Mandalorian. I'm not saying The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be bad or anything like that. I'm just saying I also don't need more of Grogu's backstory. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't need Grogu's backstory explained any further. I don't need anything to go along with that. But we'll wrap up there for today. So today we have this. Tomorrow we have a new episode of Exploring Hyperspace Lanes, which will be the episode about Andor. And Josie and I talk about the new Star Wars movie that might be happening based on rumors that have been floating around the internet. And we rank Andor against A New Hope. And then we also have coming this week the Bad Batch. We have Velma. We have, which I'm probably gonna, if the ratings for Velma don't pick up, I'm gonna drop Velma. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of the show. And I don't want to devote a half hour of my week to watching it if I don't have if the listenership isn't there. And then on top of that, we also have what was the one after that too? We also have National Treasure continuing on. At least National Treasure may not get the listens that I'm looking for, but I'm enjoying National Treasure, so I'm okay with it. For the most part, it's not a fantastic show, but it's a nice little guilty pleasure show. I'm enjoying it enough, and let's be honest, the original movies aren't masterpieces either. Let's just be honest with ourselves real quick. This week we have Missing. I feel like there was another movie, but probably not. Next week we have possibly Blades of Glory, possibly a different movie. We will see what I feel like watching on Netflix. I think that's what we'll do for that. We'll just see whatever I feel like watching on Netflix, or I'll see if I want to get Peter on this weekend to do maybe Memento or something. Just so we have something unique to talk about for a good amount of time. And I think we will wrap up there for today. But if you want to keep appraised of what we're going to be doing, any announcements will be going up on the blog. Go to multipleworldproductions.com/news. And if you look at the If you look at the contact page, if you have your thoughts, I think what we're going to start doing is if other people have thoughts about the movies, we're going to read them. We'll read them out. So if you have thoughts on a movie that we cover, you can go ahead and shoot in your thoughts to the contact page, which is also on the website. And for more information about Exploring Hyperspace Lanes, go to multipleworldproductions.com/EHL, and it is all available on there to stream, and everything about it's on there. So until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.